Leavitt, he's the former governor of Utah who also served as Health and Human Services Secretary under President George W. Bush, and he was also administrator of the EPA. Mr. Secretary, great to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Governor. It's nice to be with you.
I want to get right to it. When the government says we've got nothing to worry about, do we have something to worry about with Ebola?
Listen, pandemics happen. They are a fact of the natural world. We have had 10 of them in the last 300 years. We've had 3 of them in the last 100 years. And when they happen, they are world-changing events. So it's something we should always be concerned about and always be preparing for. They happen infrequently enough that often we forget about it and we get a bit lax in our preparation. So the answer is we should always be concerned about it because they will happen either now or in the future.
I remember when I was governor in Arkansas, you were the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and that agency, of course, oversees CDC. There was a concern about the H5N1 virus, a bird flu that was really a concern. Everybody thought we were going to see a pandemic. I remember extensive preparations for that from the national all the way to the state level. I don't think it appears that there was that kind of intense preparation for the possibility of Ebola.
Preparation has to be ongoing. It has to be something we think about all the time. And the things we would do, frankly, for a pandemic are the same things we should be doing for an earthquake or a bioterrorism event or a hurricane. This is about preparedness for anything. And I think that's the way we really need to be thinking about pandemic planning, and particularly Ebola. We need to recognize that this kind of thing happens and we need to be ready no matter when it is.
Did it hurt that the administration, specifically the president, said it is unlikely that it will come here, and then it came here in less than 2 weeks?
I was surprised to hear the president say that. We spent extensive resources modeling pandemic behavior back in the day you referred to with H5N1. And in a world that is so globally connected, the likelihood of a case not reaching the United States seemed highly unlikely. It seemed predictable that we would have one, and I would say it's predictable we'll have more than what we have had today, simply because it's impossible in a world as complex and as globally connected as we are to just prevent all of them. The question is, how do we respond when that occurs? And I believe that the response in Texas has been the appropriate one. They stumbled initially, but we're all a bit more on guard now. There are a whole series of steps in battling a pandemic, and the most important one right now is containing. When you discover a case, containing it and make certain that it does not spread.
Travel bans, that has been talked about a lot, whether we should say, look, if you're coming in from Liberia, we're just not going to let you come in for a while. Is that a good idea, or is there a better way that you can identify people who are sick before they get on that airplane and get here?
My opinion is that the most important thing we do is screen at our border and at the border of those who are affected. A person could leave Liberia and fly to Paris and then take a plane from Paris to the United States. If we're not monitoring at the borders during periods like this and looking for people who in fact are sick or that could be from areas that are affected, we're likely to have adverse effects from that. So my view is that blanket travel bans may not be as effective as dramatically beefing up the kind of monitoring and watchfulness that we have at the Liberian border, for example, and the United States border.
Well, Mr. Secretary, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and great to get your insights on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.